10 years ago, I attended my first annual OCD conference in Boston. I had only recently figured out I had OCD. I had just begun ERP treatment, and my mom and I knew no one sitting next to us in the sessions. Pen poised to take diligent notes, I was scared out of my mind. Meeting other people who truly understood OCD and who knew how to treat OCD was no short of life-changing. Hearing others share their obsessions and compulsions that so closely mirrored mine meant everything to that scared girl. I suddenly knew I wasn't alone. With continuing writing my blog, My OCD Voice, over the next decade, I got more involved in the online OCD community. I continued to attend 1 million Steps for OCD walks and other events for support, especially on my college campus. And after several years, I had a strong OCD community built around me, including some of my closest friends. Suddenly, I knew many people sitting next to me at the conferences, and I was still ready to meet many more new faces. I wanted to share that community with others, to anyone who felt alone with OCD, especially beyond the walls of the conference. I had the idea in 2017 to do it through handwritten, encouraging notes in the mail. Not Alone Notes was never intended to be a nonprofit or last this long, though I'm so glad it has. It was just an idea I almost didn't pursue because OCD told me it was dangerous. I'm so glad I didn't listen. I want to thank all the organizations and individuals in this community who have collaborated with Not Alone Notes, from donating to our Not Alone tote care packages, to letting us send a pile of notes home with you after the conference to pass out to your patients. We do this work together. Even more, we couldn't send all these notes around the world without the help of our incredible team members, several of whom are here at the conference this weekend. Could Lisa, Bree, Rachel, and Violet please stand for recognition? Thank you immensely for your contributions to all our current and former team members here and back at home. Not Alone Notes is truly a global effort because of your help. Thank you as well to the International OCD Foundation for this award. It is the honor of an anxious lifetime and very full circle to be standing here, still scared, but much, much better, surrounded by so much support. But even more, thank you for facilitating this community that led to friendships and hope and Not Alone Notes. The thousands who have received a note are proof that you are not alone. This room is proof that you are not alone. And knowing you aren't alone can be the beginning. Thank you.
Dear OCD community, I've lived with OCD long enough to know that speaking out about mental health isn't easy. I used to watch people share their OCD journeys online and think I could never be like them. I wanted to be brave enough to talk openly about the secret I walked around with each day. I wanted to support others, but I wasn't ready to show my personal OCD story publicly. I wasn't ready to explain the irrational obsessive spiral that wearing certain patterns might increase my chances of throwing up, or that my OCD convinced me that I have magical powers that control when someone is going to have a stroke and die. Then one day I saw a tweet from Morgan, a mental health advocate who spoke openly about her struggles online. She was starting a project called Not Alone Notes, where people could sign up to receive handwritten notes in the mail, reminding them that they aren't alone with their struggles with OCD. Right away, I knew that this is something that I'd be able to help with anonymously. I love art and creating handmade cards, so I sent Morgan a message asking to help. Soon after, I was handmaking notes and mailing them halfway across the country to Morgan. She would then write the messages in them for people with OCD. As the project developed, I began reaching out to therapists to spread the word about Not Alone Notes. This was an exposure for my social anxiety and OCD, but I was excited to be able to advocate anonymously and make a difference without sharing my personal story. Eventually, I began helping write the heartfelt messages in our cards, something that sounds simple but can be challenging as someone with OCD. As I seal each envelope, thoughts of, what if you actually wrote you are alone instead of you're not alone? Or, you shouldn't have used the dog sticker because what if they're actually afraid of dogs started popping in my brain. However, knowing that I'm helping others feel less alone has always motivated me to continue the project while challenging my own OCD. I realize that every note I send is a reminder, not just to the person receiving it, but also to myself, we are not alone. We're just wired a little differently, or as I like to say, all share the same brain. After working on the project anonymously for a while, I began to consider sharing more of my story. Did I want to share my full name online and attach it to OCD? I work at a school, so what if my students Google me and find out I have OCD? The internet is forever, my brain would tell me. I had to think back to why I do what I do, to help others. I had to think past my OCD brain trying to predict future Google searches. I had to think past my social anxiety around what others might think of me. After enough time had passed, I decided to attach my full name to Not Alone Notes and began telling my story, but at my own speed. Being part of Not Alone Notes has helped me accept myself and my OCD, but I want to be clear that being guarded never made me any less of an advocate, although my OCD brain often tells me otherwise. Not Alone Note gave me a way to remind others that even if you're Not Alone Notes gave me a way to support others in the OCD community without needing to be loud. It reminded me, and hopefully reminds others, that even if you're not ready to share your whole story, you can still make a difference. I want to thank the International OCD Foundation not only for this award, but for creating a space where stories like mine and projects like Not Alone Notes can thrive. This community and shared understanding is powerful. I want to thank Morgan for being brave enough to start Not Alone Notes, the project that's given me the courage to share my story. I want everyone to remember that advocacy doesn't have to be sharing your full story. It can be a simple gesture, like a handwritten note, a stamp, a message that says you're not alone, you are not your thoughts, and you matter, even on the days that your brain tells you otherwise. And thank you to those who nominated Morgan and me. I share this award with every person who has felt that their quiet efforts don't count, because they do.